Hello, friends. It's John Klein III with Shadow and Flame with Magic, the podcast, and this is episode 54 and we are going to review the New Mutants issue 71, Inferno. So let's get to it. And once again, thank you to Francisco for providing the theme song of the podcast. Appreciate it and you for doing the work. And this is another near mint comic I own, which is pretty nice. Got Inferno, the New Mutants. We have Sim standing over the New Mutants as they are being swallowed by Limbo. We have Cannonball, Wolfsbane, Magic the Dark Child, Gossamer, Danny, Warlock, and Sunspot. And then Sim has a buddy behind him, and Sim has the Soul Sword. And we also have a character box with Ileana, Sam, Danny, Rain, Warlock, and Sunspot. This would have cost you $1 or 125 cans or 50 pence. And it is Comic Code approved. Inside cover ad is for Ultra Games, featuring the Ninja Turtles and a skateboarder and a guy on a horse. And, or Skate or Die. Which makes sense as all these comics would have came out at the same time. So the ads are definitely going to be similar. Oh, and Defender of the Crown's the other one. And so this is New Mutants Volume 1, Issue 71, came out in January 1989. A Stanley presentation brought to you by Louise Simonson, writer, Brent Blevins, penciler, favorite artist of Brian Perillo of Uncanny X-Cast fame. Remember when Comic Book Podcast was literally just Uncanny X-Cast and Comic Book Queers before the Legacy? Those were simpler times, but now everyone gets a voice, and it's amazing. Inker Al Williamson, letterer Joe Rosen, colorist Linus Oliver, and Bob Harris, editor, and Tom DeFalco, editor-in-chief. Who every time I see Tom DeFalco's name, I'm always like, oh, what a great Spider-Man writer. But here he's editor-in-chief. It's a big job. And I want to say we reviewed Uncanny X-Men 198 last time, and neither of those ladies had their name changes yet, and here we are now. So that's a little fun. A little piece of trivia. So, for over 5 million years, humankind have ruled the Earth. Now a new breed emerges, Homo superior, born with a mutant genetic structure that gives them more than human power. The New Mutants have just arrived in Limbo, an Eldritch dimension once ruled by Alien Rasputin, codenamed Magic, but called by some the Dark Child. And so Sunspot has Gossamer on his back. They're charging at Sim and a bunch of Limbo demons. Ileana's in her full white armor with red horns sticking out of her helmet. Which I imagine if you took off that helmet, she would still have the red horns. And they just got teleported using Ileana's stepping disc from outer space to Limbo, hoping to get to Earth. And Bobby's like, Limbo looks like trouble. Port us out of here, Ileana, hurry. And she's like, I'm trying, Bobby, I'm trying. But she cannot open up a portal. These mutant teenagers are old hands at this. They've teleported many times, always using Limbo as a way station between jumps, because that's how Ileana's power works. But Limbo was never like this. And she's like, I can't do it. I can't port us out. I can't make a stepping disc into Earth. We're stuck here in Limbo, maybe forever. And Sim's like, destroy them. And then we get Cannonball like, no way. I'm invulnerable when I'm a blasting monster. That's cute. Yeah, you gotta, it's 1989. You still gotta give everyone their powers. Danny manifests a spear, and it's just going around charging people with it. Ileana says, but we did leave, Danny. We went out into space, but I did learn. These are others besides me with demons in our souls. It's how we deal with evil that counts. Oh, yeah, and there's some heartbreaking moments in this comic. or at least one specifically heartbreaking comic. And so everyone's trying to fight. Gossamer thinks she might be able to trick the demons because she's an alien, and so they're not used to her body. Because right now, the reason Sim's able to be so powerful as right now is because he has the techno mode virus, the transmode virus in Limbo. So he's being powered by both demonic powers, but also Warlock's tech powers. And Warlock turns himself to a hammer, smashes a demon, Sunspot's punching fools, Warlock's kicking demons, Ileana's trying to attack with her sword. I rule Limbo, monsters. I won it the hard way. How dare you turn my kingdom against me, Sim? Why blame Sim, Darkchild? Limbo's yours, no question. It reflects what you are. Not Sim's fault it turns your stomach. Like classic villain being like, this is your fault, hero. Just keeping her unnerved. There's an ad here for the Nintendo's Freedom Stick. That's the size of your lap. With a joystick to the left and a BA button to your right. I remember thinking it was pretty cool at the time. But also like uncomfortable to play for long. Like reading an omnibus. And so Ileana slashes Sim in half. You turned my stomach, monster. I won, but guess again, babes. And it's just disgusting the way Sims feels this comfortable around poor Ileana with like their history they have together. Sim's infected with the transmode virus, remember? Sim's techno-organic now. Your magic sword can't disrupt me. And he punches her into the ground. Nothing can destroy Sim, but he can destroy you. And he just takes her soul sword. Like, stop taking things of hers. My sword! I created it from a piece of my soul. How? Soul is corrupted by Limbo's dark magic, sweets. So your sword, so much power for those to tap into. Dark power. Its barest touch conjures monsters. And it's like, stop calling her, these names that you haven't, earned the right to. Let's see what its touch will do to you. And then he tries to cut off her head, but the armor creates a collar of spikes. Armor grows spikes, protects you. Huh. You're still Sim's captive, though. Guess Sim has to find some other way to kill you. Sim will have no problem killing them. And she thinks, he's right, it isn't just my life at stake here. They're in this too because of me. I have to get them home, but something's blocking me. I can't reach the earth, but... And she creates a stepping desk for her and them. They disappear. Sim's confused by all this. Then Nasir shows up. He's like, Nasir, you've been spying on Sim from your lair on Earth. Where is your trust? Sim would not kill you. Little precious Sim honors our agreement. Sim meant only to scare her. And Nasir's like, you actually tried to decapitate her with her own sword. Sim, you might have killed her. That would have not been wise. Better take a nicer tone with Sim, Nasir. Sim has the sword. Sim has the power. Sim rules Limbo now. And soon Sim will rule all of Earth. Will you? The Darkchild has escaped. Not to Earth. Because my magic stopped her. Even from magic Earth, my foresight's far outreaches yours. And then we get Ileana has teleported them to the throne room of Belasco and starts narrating because the New Mutants have been to Limbo, but they haven't stayed in Limbo. And she explains, I caught a stepping disc, the nearest one around. It brought us here. To the place where I first met the demon Lord Belasco. To the throne room where in Limbo where he lured me. And this is where Rain starts you get the impression Ileana has just been keeping dark secrets from the team. And probably not even hinting at stuff. Like no one's ever like, oh man, these eggs are burnt. And Ileana's never like, you think that's burnt? You should be in Limbo on a Tuesday. Like she's not making fun of strides like that. I was with my brother and the X-Men on an island where the wall between Earth and Limbo is weak. I heard Belasco call me, and I came and fell into a stepping disc, and it brought me here. I think I heard his call because of an inborn affinity with Limbo. After all, I was born with the power to control its teleportation discs, which is a very specific power she has, but Kurt has the ability to teleport to his dimension, the Brimstone and Sulfur dimension. I mean, Cyclops has eye blasts from the Punch dimension. Like, who knows how these mutant powers actually manifest? When I got here, Belasco gave me a locket and said that he loved me. I believed him. I was only 6 years old. Belasco really wanted to use me to bring the evil gods he served to Earth, but I didn't know that then. Sim serves himself. And then the X-Men followed me in Limbo and tried to save me, and one by one they died. And then Rain starts like losing her stuff, her mind, as she steps on bones. And Ileana just like, I guess it just explains things because maybe they're going to be stuck there forever is her motivation. And so she's just like, I got to explain to you why Limbo's bad. Nightcrawler's foot. Cat phased it into the ground and then killed him. He's become a sick thing by then, a monster. This is Cat, what's left of her, grown, changed, twisted demonically by Belasco. You know her as Shadow Cat, Kitty Pryde. I fought her and killed her. Even here, she was my best friend and I killed her. Nightcrawler, my brother Colossus, Wolverine, they all died around me because of me. Storm tried to save me from the dark sea Belasco had planted into my soul. And I don't know, Blevins does an amazing job here of like what angles he chooses, the coloring's amazing. Like, it's all dark and like it's all a black background, and then like the furniture, like the throne room itself is red. There's red lights from, I don't know, innately from items. And I killed her too to keep her from eternal damnation at Belasco's hand. I blame. So she's doing a monologue, but we're not just getting like a face to the panel, to the fourth camera. I blame Belasco for what I had become, but I chose it. I must have. No one made me murder my best friends. And the New Mutants are just like not believing any word she has to say, which is weird as she's been talking for minutes now. And they're like, "What do you mean you killed them? You're like, they're still alive." Oh yes, time is different here. You see, and alternative choices mean alternative timelines, and alienate people are created. It's difficult to explain. I made the right choices, the ones that let me live and led me back to Earth, while the others were trapped here and died. And they just continue to be like flabbergasted by the whole thing. And then Nasir opens up a portal, a stepping disc, and then demons are coming, and so Ileana opens another one. Oh yeah, I forget, she has an all-white armor, but also red horns and a red tail coming out. So she's definitely becoming the demon child. And then they find Limbo Colossus's body just pinned to the wall and is completely decayed, but in his metal form. So I guess the metal is more warped. And then they hear a scream, "Eee!" And then they turn and it's Sim chasing a cute little blonde girl. And she falls onto her back. And they want to save her because, they're the New Mutants and they're heroes. And they just see Sim take the 6-year-old girl by the right leg and like lift her up and then throw her into the ground. "Come here, sweetie. Sim wants to talk to you. Sim doesn't like it when you won't smile at him. Sim doesn't like your attitude." And it's just these strong implications of like Sim did horrible, horrible things to her as a kid. Which is why I always thought Ileana always read to me as asexual due to the abuse she clearly suffered in Limbo. And then like there's times where like she talks about boys, like when Danny talks about cute boys, like at Summer Party. And Ileana's like, yeah, he's cute too, but it always just reads as performative to me. But that's why I'm also for shipping her and Kate now, because, they're older now. They've been clearly, like, quasi-flirting, and she convinced her not to marry her brother, and so, we all thought it was leading up to it, and now, thanks to Fall of X, like, Kate's in the Morlock tunnels, and Ilyana's in Realm of X, and which I want to review next week because got to get the magic portion of the podcast represented. But because this is limbo and time is in flux, Ilyana has to explain, like, Rain, stop! Don't you understand anything? That baby's me, the way I was when I first came here. During that last jump, and I recognize I'm not doing a Russian accent. Like, I meant to, like, YouTube, like, Russian accent, like, give me, like, a flair, but I didn't do it, as I'll just butcher it. During that last jump, we teleported in time as well as space into the past, my past. Sims punished me for some imagined transgression. He did that whenever you could catch me. I remember. I don't want to remember. And you can see she's like crying through her like white eyes, like the Ninja Turtle white eyes. And as we can't stop him, don't you see? We have to leave her, me, to learn what I can from this. A lesson is in hatred. So I will be around to defeat the Basco and become this monster that I am, so that I'll learn to control the stepping disc and maybe send you home. And then the New Mutants are like super sad now because now they get like, oh, you clearly had a rough time. No wonder you don't ever talk about Limbo or make fun references to it. And then yeah, they're like, we want to go home to Earth. And she's like, Earth's not my home, is it? Sim never killed me, and he could have so easily. I wonder why. Come on, Rain, let's go. I don't think what's coming is something you ought to watch. Because Rain's canonically the youngest of the New Mutants. And then all of a sudden you see Nasir pop out of nowhere, and because when he threw baby Ilyana into the ground, she clearly got passed out. Knocked out, and so Nasir has showed up. He's blasting hand blasts at Sim. The girl child must remain alive. Nasir, rebel, you dared to threaten Lord Belasco's guard? I threatened the human sorcerer's clinging lackey. And Rain's just like losing it, just crying. She's giving Ilyana the biggest hug, and Ilyana looks nonplussed about it. And then demons show up in a stepping disc. Ilyana opens another one. While here and now, and we see the Empire State Building and the Hellfire inner circle, which is Magneto, Emma, Shaw, and Selene. And we see families on the Empire State Building. This one guy's looking through the viewer telescope. And all of a sudden he's like, my eyes. And then the telescope blinks around and he's like, my eyes now. Like them? Which is just twisted. Like, I don't know. Inferno gets crazy. And I gotta say, this New Mutants comic I'm loving so much more than I did Exterminators issue 1. And I'm sure it's because I love the New Mutants. I love Ilyana. Like, this whole thing just feels like a crucial building block, but there's going to be sequences later where all of a sudden it's like, well, this is why Comics Herald was so nice and did a reading list, and why they said read those first and then read this, because stuff is happening at the same time. Magneto destroys that viewer, which I guess comes with the guy's eyes. He had lined the other three's costumes with metal, which I don't know where you hide metal and Selene or Emma's outfits, maybe in their cloaks. But because they have metal, he's able to levitate them all above. And then he just tries to get them away from the Empire State Building. Meanwhile, we see all the families running into elevators, which seems like a mistake because they tell you never to get in an elevator during a crisis. But maybe that was on the rule in 89. But all of a sudden we see the elevator coming crashing down. Emma's like, Magus. Not Magus. Magnus. Magus. So shout outs to Chrono Trigger. But she's telling Magneto to like stop the elevator, catch it. But before we see it, it crashes and everyone's into skeleton bones already. And I guess this is blood, so that's intense. And then we see Nasir is on Earth. And he's just laughing. See Exterminators 3 for details, bub. Which I don't know why I said bub it like that. Which is fun though, because we see Artie and Leech behind him, also looking into the viewer portal. While in a far dimension and earlier time, welcome, Dark Child, to my little corner of limbo. And so they want to leave, but Ilyana wants to hear what Nasir has to say. You're Nasir, the demon who stopped Sim from killing me. Why? I have watched you through pregnative magic and have summoned you into the past via a transport spell of my own devising, more cumbersome than your elegant natural approach, but as effective in its own way. I need to speak to you privately. Who are you? A poor demon scorned by Belasco for his apprenticeship. He preferred human students, you see, and thought demons good only for servants. Belasco chose Storm, and then you, a mere child, over me. But I stole Belasco's main book of spells before you could destroy it. Traveled into the far past, and now I have mastered them. All of them. You see, I have a natural affinity for darkest magic. Sim's army is massed for invasion. I will help you defeat him, save your friends, escape to Earth. In dealing with demons, there's always a price. You wound me, Dark Child. I offer help because I love you. Which she already referenced earlier, like, she's a sucker for, companionship and comforts and just pure love. As, for 8 years of her life, she was abused by Sim. So anywhere someone will lend a kind hand, like, you take it. The power to return to Earth is yours. In any case, it is your birthright, but you fear to use it. What do you mean? You let Sim take the sword because in your heart you knew what it had become and you rejected it. And thus you surrendered to Sim, the darkest, most powerful piece of your soul. And he will try to use it. Take the sword back. Accept its dark power. And this Nasir is wearing a purple cloak, whereas present day Nasir does not wear a cloak, just like the 87 Splinter toy came with that cloak, and then, well, I guess Shredder did too with his purple, and then you could take those off, and then next thing you know, you just have naked Splinter running around forever, because once that Komodo, I was like, what is that word called? Like, no, it's Komodo. Just was gone for all time. And he would try to use it, take the sword back, accept its dark power. Defeat Sim, use it to save your friends and to get home, to save your world. And you will send me back to Sim so I can do that? What do you gain from helping me? I ask only that you accept your true self, embrace your dark heritage, defeat Sim. For now, that will be enough. And in the future? Perhaps someday you will return to me as my dark bride if you so chose. And so the New Mutants are immediately like, don't do that. That's the future, Sam. This is how, now, if I don't do something, none of you may make it have a future. Don't you see? He saved me from Sim. He wants to help me. He says he loves me. And then Reigns just starts crying as a demon grabs her face, which just pushes Ilyana to make a decision. Look, Rain, nearly mad now. If she's stuck here, she'll die. You will all die. Then Sim will use the power of my sword, to lay waste to our world. And I can't stop him. That's my life compared to that. I mean, what such good comic book writing? I mean, I know Louise Simonson's a legend, but gosh, is there a truer, higher form of legend? All right, demon, we have a bargain. I'll take back the sword. And all the New Mutants are immediately like, no, you can't. And so she disc away, go then, do your part, and I shall do mine. And then we see Cortus, who's been bothering Nasir this entire time with like undermining him or questioning him the whole time. You lack understanding, Cortus. As does that fool Sim. Sim underestimates her true value. He schemes to kill her. I plan to use her. The human need to choose right over wrong, good over evil, has ever been, will ever be the Dark Child's greatest strategy. And then immediately, emboldened with a new direction, Ilyana stepping disc right into Sim's face. What is this? The demon Ashir has betrayed you, Sim. and delivered you into my hands. And like just shoots lightning bolts from her own hands or beams. And then Sim tries to attack her, but she goes between his legs. She's like keeps zapping him. Just starts blasting. Betrayed Sim, has he? And she slashes him. She blasts him to the throat. The Marvel Bulletin. I also want to make a reference about how we just read 198 and how No, I keep saying 198. It was 186, right? But how like Kitty was gonna get married to Caliban, and then because she made a deal, and then here we are years earlier, and no, that came first. So she's here, and poor Ileana had to make a deal to get married as well. Like years later, like that's not right. Did no one learn anything? Bullpen mini bulletins. Quote the monk boy: the best way to keep a fantastic secret is tell everyone that no one believes it. Ben from Solar Man issue 1. Checklist is Daredevil 262, West Coast Avengers 40, Semper Fi 2, G.I. Joe Special Mission 17, Web of Spider-Man 46, Marvel Comics Presents 10, Excalibur 4, so they're heading to Inferno, which makes sense as that's what's going on. I guess all these titles are heading to Limbo. Solo Avengers 14, Amazing Spider-Man 311, New Mutants 71, shout out. Solar Man 1, Alpha Flight 66, Wolverine 3, Marvel Age Magazine 70, Incredible Hulk 351, Avengers 299, Conan the Barbarian 214, G.I. Joe 82, Punisher 15, Silver Surfer 19, Uncanny X-Men 240, Classic X-Men 29, Marvel Comics Presents 11, Saga the Submariner 3, Fantastic Four 322, Iron Man 238, Speedball 4, that's fun, Thor 399, Power Pack 43, which we'll get to Power Pack here eventually, Spectacular Spider-Man 146, Transformers 48, so Marvel just has all the properties, X Factor, Exterminators 4, Doctor Strange 2, G.I. Joe European Missions 5, The Nom 26. Marvel Magazines was Marvel Spider-Man Comics Mag 13, The Nom Magazine 6, Savage Sword of Conan 155, Conan Saga 20. And the Marvel Bookshelf had Nick Fury vs. S.H.I.E.L.D., G.I. Joe trade paperback, and Marvel Masterworks The Avengers. Nice little time capsule there. Back to the comic. Ileana double stomps Sim's face, and he's on the ground now. She has her sword now and just slicing away. Power, dark power, I can feel it. I am power. And now she's in full red, hoofed, scaly demon child form. I have the sword, demon, and you are nothing. Earth is safe from your greed, and the stepping discs are again mine to command. So hard, so residue barrier still blocks the way. Push against it. Through it all of my power, force my way through to Earth. And then the New Mutants thought they were going to go to Xavier's, but instead they're at Times Square. And Warlock parachutes Sunspot and Rain down, which is weird because Sunspot should be able to do that himself. Darkchild is just gleefully falling with her feet, and Sam is blasting with Danny in his arms, which is just cute. And they're like, close the disc. I'm trying, Sam, but I can't. It's open and there's nothing I can do. Nasir, you tricked me. You wanted this to happen. You chose to take the power, Darkchild, to save your friends and your world. My friends have simply crushed the party. You lied to me, demon. Not entirely. Only the Darkchild could wield the sword's dark energy to open such a portal. Only I, Nasir, could wield the forces that it takes to keep it open wide. You betrayed me, of course, Darkchild. Though I truly love you, I am a demon. Next, Manhattan Transform. Inferno is here. And that is such a good comic book. But once again, like I think I read Inferno all out of order and without the respect I should have. So our next Inferno comic is Avengers 299, which is pretty fun. See what the bigger outer world is dealing with Inferno. And then so that'll be the bonus episode next week. And then we'll do Realm of X1, which was pretty good. A young Kitty Pryde showed up in Jean Grey #1, so that was fun. And a good comic by Louise Simonson. So that's out on shelves. So thank you everyone for listening. You can follow the blog at shadowandflamewithmagic.com. You can follow the podcast at Twitter and Instagram at SNFWM. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube at JackalSII. The Fortnite Chapter 4 Season 4 starts tomorrow. Walker's going to have a sleepover, so I'm not going to be starting episode until like Saturday night to do the battle pass and see what everything looks like. I'm excited to finally see it on Saturday. Saturday evening, we'll be coming back from a Great Falls trip where we're going to go to Kelly's Comics. So I'm excited about buying the August books and hopefully a comic book box because I want to do some more organizing. So a little plug for not sponsored. And so some fun weekend plans. But yeah, next week Realm of X1 and Avengers 299 for the retro review. Alright everyone, well thanks again for listening, and if you would rate the podcast and leave a review, we appreciate it and it helps the podcast, and I will talk to you next time. Okay everyone, bye.